Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for this interesting live stream that we have on IPL. We are leading towards the business end of the IPL, so which means few slots left, you can say, for reservation for the playoffs, and the title race is getting really, really heated. Against the playoff race is getting really, really heated. Few teams are flying away, and certain teams have got few positions left to seal in. The last 1 week of IPL has been pretty crazy to say the least, where you've seen some topsy-turvy changes in the IPL points table, to say the least. I have Antariksh joining me, but before we get into today's stream, do not forget to check out our course on Mad About Sports and Cricket Analytics. If you're an aspiring analyst who want to make a dream career in sports, where you want to get a dream job working for your favorite sporting team, your IPL franchise, or for the matter, even with a big sporting media company, this is your opportunity. Do not miss out. So this is your chance. Fill the Google form in the description, and our team will get in touch with you. So I have Antariksh joining me, as I mentioned. Antariksh, how are you feeling, man? It's been a very good week of cricket, indeed.
Yeah, it's been one crazy IPL as it sort of always promises to be. And we're getting near to the business end, and we can see the table properly take sort of shift now and take place now. And we can see some of the teams, they're gone. Some of the teams, they're almost certain to be in. And then, as always, there's a middle model of previously it used to be 2 3 teams, but with the extended IPL of 10 teams,
Yeah,
it's now 4 5 teams competing
yeah,
probably for a couple of playoff spots. So
yeah,
that's going to be very interesting to see. And games do come thick and fast at this end. You don't realize, because it's almost like that psychological thing that IPL to chali raha hai. So every day you have a game, but you just realize that almost all the teams have about a couple of games or maybe 3 games remaining. So we've
yeah.
really come a long way. So, but couldn't be
Almost
more
been two
delighted
months
with.
to say the least, huh? Almost been 2 months. We're like 40 odd days already into the tournament. 46
Yeah,
days into the tournament.
exactly. So it does catch up on you, and you don't realize when it's sort of gone, and then all you can do is wait for another year, right? So that's that. But talking about my team, I couldn't be happier with where my team is standing right now. And with respect to some of the other shocks, I would say, I mean, Mumbai Indians, like, we have to talk about
Yeah,
them, obviously, and I know we will. But
yeah,
just to sort of highlight, I mean, the potential that the team had, they just showed it yesterday, right? The
yeah,
depth, the quality that they have,
yeah.
the rich vein of Indian cricket, sort of Indian batters that they have.
Hmm.
But it's all come down to a model. So that's that. And
Yeah.
RCB, the old laying down problem for them as well. So we'll jump on them. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll jump on them. So from the last week, if you're an RCB fan, you have a good time. You're at number seven now. Tala for a reason. If you want to just put that right there at number
RCB
seven.
are technically still in it, right?
Yeah,
Mathematically.
RCB are well and truly in it after yesterday's result, which SRH have gone on to lose. So, which means if SRH goes on to lose their remaining matches, and if LSG doesn't win more than one game, RCBs with the net run rate which they have, you never know. If you're an RCB fan, not giving you hopes again. I remember last week when we did a stream, someone had asked me how was RCB's chances. I just wrote it off, but I'll again write it off.
Yeah.
I'll keep that as my. See, guys, don't get overexcited. But we'll come to number one then.
It's slim.
Then we'll
It's
come to
still
RCB league.
slim, but it's a chance nonetheless.
It's a chance nonetheless. I mean, if you are optimistic, as all the other RCB fans are, you know that maybe certain results would have gone their way in that season. You would have been in a much better position. Maybe that KKR
Yeah.
game, you never know that no ball being
Oh
called.
yeah.
Oh yeah, these are margins we're talking about in the season. But look at the table. Mumbai Indians will be slightly happy. They are off the bottom of the table. Gujarat Titans surprisingly are on the bottom of the table. Punjab Kings, they suffered a very interesting loss to CSK the last week, this week rather, where they failed to chase 170 odd. Very interesting chase. I'm just giving an overview before we get into deep discussion. KKR, we'll start out with them. Antariksh, obviously, when I'm Antariksh on the stream, I cannot start on my stream other than talking about KKR. They're on top of the table. Antariksh is super happy. He would want the repetition of 2012, because this is like a 2012 vibe. Winning in Wankhede after 12 years. Gautam Gambhir at the helm. New Shreyas Iyer doing a phenomenal job as a captain. Then to go to Ekana Stadium, where the average score is around 160, 170, to go and score 235 there. And to ball LSA out very cheaply, the way they've been playing. The ballers are clicking all of a sudden. The batters are clicking in different aspects. Sunil Narayan is playing like the greatest cricketer to have ever played IPL at this point. I mean, whole nother level, you can say. So, Antariksh, you must be a very happy man. I mean, every week I come and ask you the same question, but what is the improvement from last week to this week that you see in KKR team?
I mean, yeah, as you just perfectly summarized, I mean, Sunil Narayan was for the lack of a better word, a buried cricketer, right? It just felt that he was gone. He was way past what the antics that he used to do. He was never really a batsman that we could rely on. It was just whatever came from Narayan's bat were bonus runs and off very quickly. But now he's like a proper batter. His bowling has come to life again. I used to remember last year, it was painful. You know, once a king, always a king. That sort of opinion, right? It was painful to see Narayan get off. Like you hit Andre Russell, you hit Stark, you hit Lockie Ferguson or whoever played for us last season, right? But when Narayan used to get hit, it just used to pain much because you remember the times when he was because there were separate records for Sunil Narayan, right?
Mm,
कि
mm,
इसको तो इस season अभी तक चौका ही नहीं पड़ा. It's been 2 years
mm.
since he was last hit for a six and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So now he's like at the age that which he's doing, and it's just that his availability has been so much throughout the world and throughout the years. So it's
yeah,
just incredible testament to him that he's still been able to be that mystery spinner all along. So I'm just so pleased. And then also a very, very hefty bonus has been Andre Russell, the bowler, and Andre
yeah,
Russell, the fielder. I mean, fielder I say because he generally doesn't keep fit, but we've seen him, as I told you guys, right, that he was given Shah Rukh Khan's personal trainer, one of SRK's
yeah,
personal trainers, to cut down body fat to be ready for this IPL, and it has given them big rewards. I mean, his
yeah,
bowling, his the bowling changes wherein Andre Russell has been included. They've been
yeah,
superb. They've always generated wickets, and they've been
yeah.
at the most pivotal moments in a game. So I'm really, really happy as a fan. I just touch wood. Hopefully, everything
But
goes fine.
overall, this, we've been not talked about this player a lot in the season, and he's a captain of the team, right? And I think we have to give credit where it's due because we've been giving credit to the Narayans, the Salts, for the matter, even Varun Chakravarti and others, but we've not spoken about Shreyas Iyer enough. Obviously, the last few months hasn't been easy for him as a player and losing out on a BCCI contract, but let's talk about him seriously as a captain, right? I think a few years ago we were talking in depth about how this guy could be a potential Indian captain,
Yeah.
but to take this team and to show what he's doing as a leader is phenomenal. Remember, he led Delhi Capitals team to a final few years ago. One of the very few players to have ever led a
2020,
Delhi
right?
Capitals team to a final. I think the only player to lead a Delhi Capitals team to the final, if I'm not wrong, is
2020,
Shreyas
right?
Iyer
Against Mumbai Indians.
against Mumbai Indians in
Yeah.
2020. Obviously, that Mumbai Indians team was way too strong for any team to defeat them. But let's give him credit. And the very next season, he was sacked without due notice.
Yeah.
So uh, he's here. He has a point to prove to the world. And let's talk about Shreyas Iyer, the captain on Trick here. I mean, words are not enough to really give him that kind of credit, isn't it?
Yeah, see, I mean, credit where it's due. I mean, you call it luck, you call it whatever you call it his year. But whatever he's done, he's just not messed around, right? His bowling changes have been spot on. His fielding placements have been spot on. And I'm in a bit of a tricky place here because I would also like to judge him as a batsman, and he's been really disappointing. And not just in terms of the runs he scored, but also the pace at which he scored. I think he's just turned into something that typical Indian batsman that we keep discussing, Abel, right? That once they're in the Indian team, their strike rate can't go above 130 on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
right? So he's also sort of been struck with that particular phenomenon. But apart from that, I would just like to say that whether it's Gambhir, whether it's him himself, I just feel that whatever combinations that these guys have been striking, it's just been wonderful seeing as a fan, and it's just been wonderful viewing. And whatever they do, it just feels that they're hitting the nail on the head. So I'm really impressed with that part of the game, albeit Shreyas Iyer's captaincy or Gautam Gambhir's mentorship. But really, really happy with that. And if we sort of move down the table to someone like an RR, right? I mean, Rajasthan Royals, they've been second to none. I don't think KKR, as much as a fan I am, I don't still think KKR have been the best team. I think it's been RR. I think they've got all bases covered. I think with how we've sort of managed the game, it's been 230, 260, 240, 220 for us every now and then. But sometimes the bowling has lagged a lot. But when we talk about RR, I mean, the find that they have had, he's not really a find, Sandeep Sharma, but he's someone who I could say has been refound. And with Sandeep Sharma and all the things that he's been doing this season, I mean, the death bowling and whatever, it's just been fantastic. Michael Andrew, welcome. He says, "क्या लगता है आपको RR जीतेगी?" I'm just mentioning about RR exactly that I think, in my opinion, they've been the best team in this IPL. और मेरे हिसाब से they could go a long way. मतलब it'll be very, very, very surprising अगर उनने qualifier one की places में finish नहीं किया, which is 1 and 2. So that'll be the first thing in their mind. And I think one or two beneath that they try to finish on top, because just because of the number of points that they have, the start that they've got. Start to क्या ही बोलो, पूरा almost IPL हो गया. So I would really be surprised if they don't finish in the first and second positions. That is the qualifier one position. Wherein then they get two chances to qualify into the final. So that's very important as an RR fan or a player or whatever. So I just believe that they have been superb in terms of their game management, in terms of their team selection, in terms of how they've just been all around, right? So Surya Kumar के शतक के बारे में बात करें. I mean, Surya Kumar, see, we know, right? I mean, we've had this meme in football. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe. So we've sort of known that, right? And that's the thing with Surya Kumar, right? He can be on his day, and we just know that. It's not that he's very inconsistent, but just overall in general, he's been very high or very low. He's not done. I mean, I would like to convert some of his zeros and tens into 30s, and maybe some of his hundreds into 70s and 80s, because what I really, because it's not the biggest form of the game, right? So it's not like those I mean, shatak convert karna padega tumhe ya ye wo. But more about that, how can you give me a consistent 30-40 run innings in maybe 10-20 balls, and then have that odd 100 or odd 70-80 in one game, a single game out of five, and stuff like that. So I would like to see more from Surya Kumar Yadav in that respect. Not getting out so cheaply so often. Maybe middle out his, mean out his innings a bit. अगर 100 नहीं मारेगा, 80 मार ले, but convert your zeros to 30s and 40s maybe. So something like that. But what he played yesterday was just a testament of how one Mumbai Indians could be. I mean, the way they lost their 3 wickets, I was like, classic Mumbai, at least this season. But then the way the two youngsters handled it, and especially Surya Kumar Yadav, how he just obliterated the attack of SRH. So yeah, peak Surya there. Michael Andrew
Absolutely.
says,
I'm back on the stream. I'm
Jeete.
sorry, guys.
Yeah, go on.
आज कौन जीतेगा? I personally think RR has a better chance. I think you already spoke about RR winning or not as well. You already spoke about whether or not RR has a good chance. I think RR has a very good chance. And today, I think if Delhi loses, they have almost curtains on their IPL season as well. Not really
Yeah,
curtains, but they'll also be in a very similar pedestrian as
yeah.
RCB or any other team. So, which means from number 5 to number 10, I mean, number 9, I'd just take out Mumbai Indians out of this equation. Other teams are fighting out for that 14-point finish, to be very fair, if a game goes the other way tonight. Because what's going to happen is, if you're a Delhi fan, you would feel that you still can get to a 16-point mark, which the teams below you cannot at this point. But if you lose today, with possibly 10 days to go for the playoffs, I think what, 10, 9 days, 10 days, 11 days to go for the playoffs, you're already seeing 5 teams really run away, and 14s really go back. That's something which we have not seen in IPL in the last 14 to 15 years. Right? We've always seen teams really fight it out till the last week. But Antrix, I have a question for you. It's out of the blue. We were talking about KKR before some time. Ashwin made a very interesting comment on his YouTube channel accusing kind of Sunil Narayan about his bowling action. He said that he will not talk about Sunil Narayan's bowling action as such, because if he comments on it, it won't be right for him. Because he's kind of accusing. We all know what he meant by that. But Narayan's batting cannot be questioned at all. And he's really proven it that he's one of the best all rounders out there. Leave the bowling aside, he's still one of the cleanest hitters. There's no way you can say there's a spring in his bat now.
That's been the beauty, and I mean, where can you fault him, right? There are maybe three aspects to his game. The all round aspect being combining the two. So you take out the all round aspect, he's probably the best hitter in IPL. You take out the batting aspect, he's probably the most economical. Like, I mean, if you'd want one bowler in the whole of IPL to bowl those middle overs or a couple of overs, even in the death area or even in the power play, it's Sunil Narayan. So what are you gonna sort of fault him for? Because he's probably been right. Like, I'm not taking away anything from Phil Salt. who's been absolutely extraordinary. Getting us those good starts and occasionally converting his great starts, 30s and 40s, into much bigger innings. But just Sunil Narayan and what he has done and the caliber at which he's operated, it's just a shame that West Indies won't have him
Yeah,
there. He clearly said that that door is closed now. So it's such a shame that a player of his caliber won't be there in the T20 World Cup. But yeah, he's probably been the man of the tournament for me.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Antariksh, for you, one of the toughest parts is going to be the IPL players. I think KKR are through to the playoffs. I'll well and clearly say that. Coming to the playoffs, I think Phil Salt not being there in the playoffs, most likely because of the English duties, is going to be a massive hit for not just your team, even for Rajasthan Royals, with Josh Butler being the captain of the team of England. And there is currently negotiations going on between the ECB and BCCI for getting those players to stay, making them say, hey, it's the Pakistan series, hey, come let them play the IPL playoffs. I don't know if ECB are going to buy into it, but if they do, if they don't buy it in, which means some of the major players from the teams who are going to qualify are going to miss out. That's going to be a massive, massive blow. If by chance, even if RCB qualifies for that matter, Will Jackson isn't going to be there. For RR and KKR, two integral openers are not going to be there. That's going to be a massive, massive blow to them. But and then let's talk about a team who has been pretty okay this season. I mean, you can't say they're at their best, right? CSK, who I'm going to be talking about. Antariksh, they won this game in Dharamshala, beating that consecutive losing streak against Punjab Kings they had, where they lost 5 games in a row. Let's be honest, Antariksh, CSK has been hot and cold this season. It's not been the CSK of the past. They've not been a consistent machine. I mean, they look like they've had so many problems. Even in the last game, if Punjab could have played a little more better, maybe they could have gotten that win as well. So that's what I'm trying to say. CSK are a hot and cold, and though I think their biggest strength is going to lie in the playoffs because majority of the playoff games are going to be played in Chennai. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a massive, massive factor for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You're right. But it's a saying that we say in football, right? Champions team just find a way, right? And that's what they've been doing. Champion team, and they're just proving why they are what they are. And I just feel last game was a typical example. What a big blow they dealt with Patirana moving out of the squad, right, due to injury. And I just thought, nah. I mean, in my opinion, they were over reliant on Patirana. They haven't played the best cricket, but I think whenever they've been in a tricky situation, he's played that. I mean, that's a mix of a strike bowler and an old age Dwayne Bravo, if you remember how he used to operate, right? And he's just been that, right, not using him in the power play at all. Sometimes sort of welcoming him straight away in the 11th over or the 13th over, but mostly it's the 7th or the 8th over just when the power play gets over. So he's just
Yeah,
played that role, and he's played that role perfectly. His action enables him to sort of get a very tricky bounce. The ball doesn't keep low, but it also gives you the perception that it's going to come higher than it actually does. So
yeah,
many of the times we've seen the batsman sort of get too far away from the ball and actually toe ending the ball high into the sky. So
right.
that's been that. But yeah, I mean, they found a way. They are in it, and with the killer instinct that they have, I mean, I won't be surprised if RR are not very careful, they might creep up into second position, right? I
Yeah,
mean, they have to be really
I
really
mean,
careful. But
I don't know. That's a strong claim to make because 3 games to go, 4 games to go. I think RR will still get on. If tonight they win, CSK are definitely not catching them, for sure. But
mhm.
I still think RR will
RR
finish
have
number
played a
one,
game
two.
less, right? Yeah, that
Yeah,
that makes it a bit more tricky. Yeah, RR
yeah.
have played a
So
game less as well.
I think CSK's best chance is to finish 3 or 4, which is
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
sure. Which means they'll play the eliminator at Chepauk, if I'm not wrong. I think the eliminator is in Chepauk. If I'm, is it? Just can you confirm if chat is watching? Do confirm me as well. Where is the eliminator? They will love if the eliminator is in Chepauk. Let me just confirm that as well. But meanwhile, yeah, you as I was mentioning about Chennai Super Kings, when you have such teams who have got the pedigree of winning games, pedigree of playing in that high caliber situation, high pressure situations, that I would like to mention. Even though you can say players like Shivam Dubey has slightly gone out of form after the selection, but these
Yeah.
guys know how to step up when it matters the most. Or even for the matter, even with Patinana, Simarjeet Singh. I mean, what a big positive that guy is. He bowled excellently. Ravindra Jadeja back in form. I mean, look at the time he's gotten back in form. All of a sudden, I'm just looking at the playoff as well. I'm not sure. I can't find the ground or venue for IPL playoffs. Let me just check it again. Uh, Yeah, either ways, as we talk about it, uh, you know,
Yeah, no.
I
So the
personally
final
think,
is in Chennai,
yeah,
and the qualifier two is in Chennai.
okay, so the eliminator is in Ahmedabad. Okay, either ways, I think they
Eliminator
will get.
and the qualifier one is in Ahmedabad. Yeah, as per
Okay,
Crickbus. Yeah,
okay, that makes sense because yeah, two games except because they were the winners, so they get the final. So yeah, as I was mentioning, if Chennai goes on to play the qualifier two in Chepauk and the final in Chepauk, that's massive. Just look at that. I mean, you
massive.
are a team who wants to play in front of your home and MS Dhoni's last dance possibly in front of his hometown. Let's talk about stories being written, even if it's whatever. And if Chennai makes the playoffs, they're a different beast. They know the situation well. They're one of the very few teams who've been there and done it. And you will say that teams who are finishing number four and number three never wins the IPL except for an SRH in
Yeah,
2016. But let's not write Chennai off. They can do it. If any team can do that, Chennai Super Kings because they can get on a roll as
absolutely.
well. So that's where I think it'll come down to that game. RCB versus Chennai in Chinnaswamy. It's gonna be if RCB is still in contention at the time, it's gonna be a knockout for them. And if Chennai are going to lose the next couple of matches, it's going to be a knockout for them. So it's going to be a virtual knockout. It's going to be a cracker 17th of May. Save the date if you are already watching this, because I personally think that's going to be the game which is going to decide qualification. If for RCB, if they're in the chance, yes, but mostly for Chennai as well. But that's about from Chennai. I think one team I really want to talk about tonight because they're going to be playing in a few minutes' time as well as Delhi Capitals because LSG had a massive loss to KKR. Delhi Capitals, they had multiple opportunities, right? Antariksh. They had last week an opportunity to go number two, spoiled it. Now, once again, they are still in the hunt. Let's not write them off. They're still within the grasp. How do you see their chances going ahead in the last few matches?
Delhi Capitals, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a roller coaster for them. The start was not the best. Rishabh Pant looked like the only sort of shining light for them, but then they came back. They won some games on the trot, and then they set themselves in a very good position to actually go off. But then they've fallen a bit again, right? And they lost this game. And I mean, in a sort of a clutch time. But that being said, right? So I usually see. I mean, a lot of people usually see the number of losses as the indicator of where these teams stand. So
yeah.
it's CSK, SRH, LSG. I have DC lost six or five.
They lost
They've
six.
lost six, right? So there you go. So CSK, SRH, LSG are probably a step still ahead than what DC are. So the minimum requirement I think for DC is to at least win the win two out of the three games. I mean that even that puts them in a sort of a very tricky position, something
Yeah,
like RCB kind of a position if RCB
yeah,
do win their three games in hand. So it's going to be tough. Realistically, sorry, hopefully they would try to win all the three, but
yeah.
I don't think that they would. And I just feel the SRH quality that they have with Pat Cummins as their captain, the whole South African 11 that they have, with CSK being the
That's what
instinct.
scares me, Antariksh, that you mentioned the word South Africa with SRH. Though Pat Cummins has got certain amount of power, that South African 11, those guys does not deliver when it matters the most. So that's where SRH will find themselves in a problem.
Exactly, exactly. So with CSK's killer instinct, with SRH, with LSG peaking at the right time, with maybe RCB and the likes of PBKs and GT still having an outside chance.
I think what's going to happen is, I'll tell you why, Antariksh. Just looking at the fixtures ahead, RCB are playing both DC and PBKs. So one of
Oh,
them is definitely going to go out. So the next one, because there is going to be a result anyways in that game, DC and PBK. So if RCB are going to win the next two, these guys are out of the race. Mumbai are out. Then I see GT. I don't know. I don't really give them a chance to win anything because they look absolutely distorted. So
yeah,
DC, GT, I just leave them behind. So by the start of next week, right, maybe by May 11th, May 14th, you would know that who are the six teams who will be in the race. I think it's going
yeah,
to be six teams in race because the last bottom three kind of teams are playing up against each other. They will get cancelled out with each other because RCB will play DC, RCB will play Punjab. RCB are playing Punjab day after tomorrow, then RCB play DC few days later after that. So there is definitely going to be a result there. And if tonight if DC loses, it's gonna be a loss. Or else if DC wins today, then DC are gonna be still there. RCB or DC will be slightly more,
yeah,
you know, won't be a big issue if even if DC lose then. But still, coming back to net run rates and stuff like that, if you look in the bottom half of the table, the best net run rate team at this point is RCB because if you look from number six to number, even if you like from number five to number 10. RCB has the best net run rate, which really
Yeah.
helped them by defeating GT in 13 overs. So if at all a 14-point finish comes in,
I mean, I don't
RCB
think I
wins.
don't think RCB will have a problem in the net run rate, because I'll tell you why. If RCB have to be in any sort of contention, they anyways have to win the next three games. So their net run rate is only going to improve, right? And
Yep.
then the teams above them, they'll have to lose some games in order to RCB in order for RCB to get into that position. So their net run rate will only go down from here unless and until they have one spectacular win. So I don't think net run rate would be the problem for RCB if teams do manage to stick up to 14. So that is a very big plus for RCB and a very big plus for fans, because genuinely, if you do your job, which is win the three games, which I think is the more mushkil part,
Yeah.
than other teams actually stucking up. I think if you do that, I see a net run rate easily touching, plus one and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, and a plus one, plus 1.2 is a very hefty net run rate to have,
Yeah.
because the above teams would obviously lose
Exactly. I
if they
agree.
have to get stuck on 14 points. So yeah,
I agree. So I think, as you mentioned, for me as well, just let's just leave RC, but I'm just talking about Delhi Capitals, especially because they're playing tonight as well. Delhi Capitals have their fortune in their hand at this point, because let's
yeah,
look at the games that Delhi Capitals will be playing, right? They're playing RR tonight, that is tonight. Then they play RCB on the 12th. Then they play LSG. So Delhi will know they can put a halt on RCB and even LSG by winning these two games. But if they go on to lose tonight and one of them, they're absolutely out. So RR has their fortunes in their hand totally. And they, not RR, DC. So if all what DC have to do is win tonight and hope that, maybe one result go their favor, that is maybe if CSK lose to one of these teams, because even if CSK lose another game, they'll be in the same points as a DC, but the
yeah, yeah,
net run
yeah.
rate will be slightly better. So
Exactly,
all
exactly.
all that these guys will be hoping, because LSD and SRH are playing the next one game. So anyway, there's going to be a loss there. So that means 16 point will be a cutoff, sure shot. No matter what happens, 16 point will be a cutoff. At this point, 16 point is a cutoff, but then you never know. 14 also can be a cutoff. If 14 happens to be a cutoff, then you never know. Then a lot of
No,
other
see,
teams in the bottom
see,
can
that's
come
the thing.
up.
That's the thing, right? The teams that can get 16 would aim for 16, because if you like, the mathematics plays out in this way that if you get 16 in this table, you're through, right? You're
Yeah.
absolutely through, because just of the nature of the teams canceling out each other by playing. I mean, as the fixtures have been lined up. But if it comes to 14, as you said, I think DC would still be in the mix, right? And that is going to be interesting as well. So all they need to right now think about is taking one game at a time and just trying to get these three games off the line, and then let's see.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of permutations and combinations. Every team would hope
You want to
that.
make a brave call, Antrix, at this point. One of the top teams missing out on playoffs.
Oh god. I
You
mean,
want to
I'm
stick
I'm
your neck out
tempted.
and say CSK not making it?
I mean, I'm tempted, right? I remember my predictions. I got KKR and SRH spot on till now. I messed up with a couple of
RR.
those. So,
I mean, RR, I told RR are making, so that's my
yeah,
only
yeah.
right
You were
prediction.
pretty confident with RR. I was like, no,
I was
no, it's
confident
them.
CSK and RR, and even Mumbai for that matter, just on paper at least. RCB I just put because of a fan, because I knew RCB would never make it, to be very honest. But if I have to stick my neck out and say, I'd say CSK not making it.
I want to say that. I genuinely want to say that. I don't like them in the playoffs. I just hope that they are out. So I would join my neck with you
But
there.
how
I
about
would say that.
Antariksh, a replay of the 2012 final in Chepauk, KKR CSK
I
once
don't want to
again?
face CSK, man. I have no interest. I have no interest to face them in the finals. I've already had a very sick, night when we played them in the final recently. Even the time that we did beat them, it was a very, very sort of
Nervy
a
final.
heart wrenching game. So
Yeah.
I don't want that. I would want a less bite you in the face team in the final,
Who
a
knows?
less
Kona S. Bharat could be your Manvinder Bisla, because anyways, Phil Salt is flying out.
who knows, man? Who knows? I mean, you gave me a shock. I genuinely didn't know, or I didn't remember that the English players have to leave. So since the moment you've said it, it's been going on in my head. Ki salt gaya, salt gaya, salt gaya. I think Gurbaz has to step up now if he's still there in the
Why
squad.
not a
I'm not
Kona S.
keeping him.
Bharat, man? I mean, this could be
Please,
the
man.
clutch
Let's just.
moment for him. He's a clutch player. Let's not forget that.
I
Against
mean, I
CSK,
it's
we
it's
need
okay.
a wicket keeper batter who can turn fortunes around, and that could be Bharat. I'm just manifesting it. If this
I don't
happens,
know.
guys, screen record this or whatever, post it everywhere you want.
Let's
But
see.
either way, but that's what I would say. It's still early days, as I would like to mention. It's not anything is possible even now. KKR are definitely making it, and RR are making it if you have good
Yeah.
fans. But other four teams, right? From the other two teams who are in the top four, I don't know, man. Anything can happen to them. CSK, good luck for you. If any team can make it, it's them for sure because I totally believe that they've got the pedigree to make it to the playoffs. Now, any changes? What are your top four predictions you can make now before we end the stream?
Right. So of course it's going to be KKRRR in no particular order. With I have to say, SRH and I don't want to say Chennai, so I'm not going to say Chennai. It's going to be SRH and LSG for me. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're going to make the
Interesting.
top four with KKR and RR.
Interesting. So that is Antariksh's top four. Let's see if Antariksh's top four happens because a lot of people did predict this top four in the mid season as well because they were the top four for some time. Let's see if DC can make it because I still think DC has got a very outside chance nobody's talking about.
Yeah, a good
And
chance. Yeah,
if DC can make it, that's going to be a very interesting top four. But I'm not saying that they're going to win the IPL. Just talking from a top four perspective. They can make it to
yeah.
the top four, which means one of the SRH LSG teams will be uprooted from there. And we might see a DC team with us. I'm just going to say at this point KKR, RR, CSK, DC, just for my liking.
KKR, RR, and
KKR, RR, CSK, DC.
you can't be saying both the things. You can't stick out your neck and say CSK is not going to make it and
Oh,
then
no, I just
predict.
went out to make a very bold prediction, but I'm just saying practically. But
I think you're
but
hedging your
if you want me to
positions.
go with what I predicted, and if you want me to go as per that, I would say KKR, RR, uh, LSG, and RCB.
Right, right. Right, that's
I'm
never
very
gonna
very
happen, but
generous, guys. I never
you
put
can
RCB.
smile for a couple more days till the
Yeah,
maths allow it, right?
yeah. Till the maths allow it. See, that's why I love maths. It always allows you with a chance.
Yeah, makes you an
Yeah.
optimistic person, but yeah.
Yeah, very, very optimistic. Whoever invented these permutations and combinations in NRRs, God bless them because they have kept a lot of fans' hopes alive today. That's about
Yeah.
it from us. Thank you. Have a good night, good day, all of you, and enjoy your match, RR versus DC. And once again, I remind you all to check out our course with Mad About Sports on Cricket Analytics. Fill the form and have a good time playing it. Have a good, have a good day. Bye bye.